This report is presented by Taco Bell. The Padres unfortunately lost yesterday to the Milwaukee Brewers. Ramon Laureano injured his hand and will be out for at least the first round of the playoffs, according to Mike Shilton. Tonight on Thursday Night Football, Cardinals hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks are currently a 1.5-point favorite in Arizona. They're getting star corner Devon Witherspoon back after missing the first few games. This report has been presented by Taco Bell.
San Diego Sports 760. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Ryder Cup Eve. Happy heading into a great weekend here in San Diego for San Diego sports and sports in general. It's going to be a fun one. We got a ton to get to over the next 2 hours, over the next 2 days of show. So let's jump right into it. Sammy just said it in his update. If you were watching the Padres game yesterday, you saw Ramon Laureano leave the game. And if you were watching post-game coverage, you saw Mike Shildt say the words, Ramon Laureano will miss the wild card round of the postseason due to a fractured finger. That absolutely sucks. When you talk about gutting a team right before the postseason, that's one of the biggest pieces, man. Ramon Laureano, since he got traded over at the trade deadline to the Padres, he's been nothing short of fantastic for this team. He has been the offense when a lot of other players have taken a step back. And Ramon Laureano has been great for the Padres, and that sucks to see. It's the last person you would have wanted to see, I think, outside of the pitching staff or the bullpen, leave this late in the season due to injury. Bummer, man. Absolute bummer for the Padres, who lose yesterday. Both the Cubs and the Dodgers win, so they lose some ground in that. I think yesterday maybe puts the nail in the coffin that the Padres will be the 5 seed heading to Chicago to take on the Cubs in the first round of the postseason this year. And you know what? It was fun while the hope lasted for a little bit that they might be able to flip it and get it back to San Diego. And I guess there is still an outside shot, but that outside shot doesn't feel super likely anymore. So day off today, and then they open up a series with the D-backs at home, the final home series of the season for the San Diego Padres in the regular season. And you hope it's not the final game at Petco Park of the season this year in 2025, because you'd like to see at least a couple postseason games there in San Diego as well. Sammy, how was your evening last night outside of the Ramon Laureano injury, which definitely stunk up mine?
Yeah, that was certainly a bummer. Other than that, the evening was good. Yeah, it's Ramon Laureano. That's just a brutal injury. I mean, he had been one of the most consistent players ever since the injury, or ever since the trade, coming over from at the trade deadline. And I know he cooled off a little bit, and Jackson Merrill probably kind of took that throne the last couple of weeks of who had been the hottest player, but Laureano being consistent. Laureano kind of got the Padres through a tough time when Manny Machado wasn't doing anything. Not that he did anything last night, but Manny Machado wasn't doing anything. Fernando Tatis wasn't doing anything. And Ramon Laureano was the guy that they kind of went to and bailed them out of a lot of games. It's a massive injury. No really way to sugarcoat it. Brian O'Hearn, now he's going to step up into the starting lineup. Bogart's coming back, which could, hopefully if he was able to return to his form in June, July there. But yeah, there's no real way to sugarcoat it. The division's probably wraps if the Dodgers win today. They're playing at 12:40. The division's over. But listen, you start a brand new season next week. Everything's kind of a fresh slate. The biggest part about that is the injury. Like, I didn't really think they were really going to be able to catch the Cubs, the Dodgers. Again, they're still an outside shot. Maybe they're able to. I think they proved this week against Milwaukee they could beat some better teams. So that is the one kind of positive note heading into the postseason. But no way to say it, man. The Ramon Laureano thing is a massive deal.
He's been excellent in the outfield too. In that whole, remember we talked about the first half of the season, what the hell's happening in left field? What the hell's happening in the outfield for the Padres? Ramon Laureano's been excellent out there. So there's a couple gaps, and you could see it in Mike Shilt's face last night when he was talking to the media. He's also gutted by this, and he's trying to do some equations in his head of figuring out where everybody's going to start for the postseason. And things get a little trickier for him. Ramon Laureano has been an excellent piece for the Padres ever since coming over. So that's kind of the bummer of today's show. The rest of today's show, I think, is largely very, very positive. We have Adrian Garcia Marquez coming on today at 1:15, talking about the final home match for SDFC. Adrian Garcia Marquez has been on play-by-play duties for SDFC all season long here on San Diego Sports 760. Maybe the most accomplished human being that we have on payroll here, Sammy Adrian Garcia Marquez, who is called everything in his career, from World Series to NBA Finals. He's been all over the world doing this, and we're honored to have him here on San Diego Sports 760. Can't wait to get him on the show. And then Coach Kentera jumping on at 1:30 for his regular Thursday appointment. I'm sure Coach is going to have lots of thoughts on the Padres, I know he voiced a lot of them on social media last night. Coach was disappointed in the effort he saw from the Padres yesterday. Disappointed in the fact that they couldn't get it done when it felt like the Cubs and the Dodgers both have kind of left the door open for the Padres.
And before we move on to the big three, like that's what is so frustrating.
It's happened 5 times this year.
Every time the Padres get within a sliver of they had the division lead at multiple points this year. They had the ability to pass the Dodgers. And remember that it all goes back to that Sunday. Remember the Padres got swept by the Dodgers the week before. Then they beat them on Friday and Saturday in San Diego, and they're winning in the game until the Dalton Rushing home run on Jeremiah Estrada. And it just feels like every time the Padres are put in pressure situations where they have expectations, where it's not just, hey, the Padres could take down the Dodgers. They have real opportunities to put pressure on the Cubs, put pressure on the Dodgers. They come up short at home. And I know that's a good Brewers team, but these are the kind of teams you're going to have to beat to get into the postseason. The only other concern I saw last night was Morahone and Estrada, each giving up a run. Overall, Morahone I don't really worry about as much because I know he's been rough the last couple outings, but like that can't happen. Like the bullpen can't be coming apart too. I don't think they are. Overall, they're still a fantastic bullpen. They can't be perfect every night, but it was concerning. Like where do you play Estrada? Is Estrada still the guy first up out of the pen? Because honestly, the last month or two, he hasn't really been the same guy he was early in the year. Mike Schultz got a lot of questions he's got to answer heading into next week.
Tons of them. We also have a special giveaway today. We don't do this very often, but we're blowing it out from noon to 6 today. 2 pairs of tickets every hour on the hour. We have a special sounder that you're going to hear that's going to signify your time to call to win a pair of tickets to go see SDFC this weekend in their final home match at Snapdragon Stadium. You'll know the sounder when you hear it. It'll be coming up twice during this hour, twice next hour, and then a total of what's 4 times 2? That's 8 times during John and Jim as well. So stay tuned for that. You'll know it when you hear it.
That was some quick math right there.
Fletch. Yeah, no, thank you. Just keep listening for this show and John and Jim, and you have your opportunity to win SDFC tickets. All right, Sammy, let's get to the big 3 where you rip through the top stories in the world of sports every single day, every single hour. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
If you would like to watch the show, a couple ways for you to do it. On X, at Fletch and Sammy. On YouTube, at San Diego Sports 760. YouTube stays live from noon to 6 every single day. John and Jim take it over right after we get off the air. Sammy, where are we starting with the big 3?
Thursday Night Football, really fun matchup out there in the desert tonight. Seattle was 2-1, taking on Arizona, who was 2-1. We kind of got into this yesterday a little bit, Fletch, but tonight, what quarterback is under more pressure? Kyler Murray to perform or Sam Darnold?
Look, I think Sam Darnold is kind of playing with house money at this point. I really think he is. He proved a lot to everyone last year that he is a for real quarterback in this league. And so far this year, he's been good. Look, his only loss came against the 49ers when the 49ers were fully healthy. And in that game, Sam Darnold didn't necessarily play bad. The 49ers defense just really played well, and they forced a lot of issues for the Seattle Seahawks. Since then, Sam Darnold's been excellent. His next 2 games, he's been really, really great for the Seahawks. I'm looking at Kyler Murray because I think Kyler Murray might be in danger of losing his job over the next couple of years. Kyler Murray needs to prove something. Yeah, he's 2-1 so far on the year. It's not like they've beaten anybody all that great. Like we took the Cardinals in week 1 against the Saints. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Who'd they beat in week 2? Do you remember?
The
Panthers.
The Panthers, yes.
Panthers.
Yes, when they almost choked that game away at 27-22.
Exactly right. And the Cardinals have not necessarily looked good in any game they've played so far this year. So I'm looking at Kyler Murray. Can you establish some sort of connection with Marvin Harrison Jr.? And maybe some of that's on Marvin, not all of it's on Kyler. But can Kyler Murray kind of take that next step? Because we're running out of time here before we think maybe this guy ain't a QB1 anymore.
Darnold is under, I mean, there's 2 different ways to look at this. Darnold is under more pressure to play well early in the season because Jalen Milroe, the rookie out of Alabama, if Darnold stinks up the joint, which he hasn't, Darnold's been very good. At some point this season, if he has a 2 or 3 or 4 really rough game stretch,
they paid Darnold to be the starter for the next 3 years.
Yeah, but you also don't take Milroe in the second round if you're not going to play him at some point.
I feel second round is different than first round, but I see what you're saying. Like they do have that option.
I don't think they're going to go to him. I'm just saying if the Seahawks have a bad record halfway through the year, this is a super young defense. They're getting Devon Witherspoon back tonight, who's a Pro Bowl corner. I think you could see Milroe at some point. So in terms of pressure to keep their job this year, I would say Darnold. In terms of pressure overall, certainly Kyler Murray. Darnold, I don't think was ever brought in to be the franchise quarterback. I may disagree with you a little bit on that. Like, I just think Darnold, and he could be. I think it's crazy that people don't view Sam Darnold as a guy who could be a franchise quarterback. They've already drafted a QB who will likely succeed him at some point. And part of that deal, there's outs after the second year. Kyler's going to have a job in the NFL, whether if the Cardinals' record's bad and they're picking at the top of the draft, I think there's a real opportunity that the Cardinals draft a quarterback. And you can't keep doing the same thing every year with Kyler Murray, and you can't really crack the playoffs, or when you have gotten the playoffs, you've kind of gotten run out of there. So I'll wonder what happens there. But I think in terms of having the pressure for next year, I think it's certainly Kyler Murray. I'm excited for this game tonight.
All right, what's next?
All right, let's go to the Ryder Cup. So Ryder Cup getting going tomorrow. Very excited for this. So Bryson DeChambeau, obviously Team USA. Rory McIlroy playing for Europe. They had some quotes. They've had how would we say this? A rough history together.
Sure.
They are not fans of each other.
The U.S. Open's one of my favorite ever. When Bryson came back to beat him, that was nuts.
You're a Bryson over Rory guy?
I didn't used to be, but Bryson's really come back into form, and Rory's become kind of a. I don't want to say.
So you're a front runner.
No, I looked at personalities. Bryson, when he first started out, was a total douchebag, and I couldn't stand him, if I'm being honest. He was a Fresno State guy, and then once he got up to the professional ranks, he just sort of talked with an air of like an arrogance where he almost looked down on people, and he wore the goofy hat, and I was out on Bryson. And then over the last couple of years, really since he jumped over to Live Golf, if you watch any of his YouTube content, any of that's like, he's become a bit of a fan favorite, and I like the new Bryson. And Rory, who I was a huge fan of, feels like he's sort of started trending the opposite direction. He's become more of a jerk. So right now, yeah, I'm Team Bryson.
So just some comments on this, what they said leading up to this. DeChambeau said, would I love to go up against him, meaning Rory? Yeah, it would be a lot of fun. Is it going to happen? It's not likely. I mean, maybe once, you never know. And then McIlroy said, if I come up against Bryson at some point, I think that's great. And that's wonderful, the championship, and wonderful for us as well in some ways.
Drop the clubs, start throwing punches.
This comes after the Masters, everyone remembers. That was the final pairing into the last day. Now, Bryson kind of fell off the face of the map halfway through that round. But Bryson, after that, made a big deal about how Rory wouldn't talk to him. That was Rory's really last great performance, was at the Masters, and how he wouldn't talk to him throughout the thing. It was kind of icing him out. I thought Rory had a good response. It's like, we're not there to be friends. I'm trying to win a major, and we're not there to just, be buddy. It is fun that the Ryder Cup already has rivalries. So USA versus Europe. Everyone's going to be tuned into this. It's going to be fun. And then you have rivalries within it. You have DeChambeau and Rory. You have some of the golfers. It feels like golfers the last couple of years, why golf is, not that it's ever went away, but it's really came back on a national scale, is some of the personalities you were talking about have gotten, like, people know Bryson DeChambeau is. You kind of love Bryson DeChambeau or you hate Bryson DeChambeau. There's not a lot of in between. I think Rory's a fan favorite. There's a lot of guys like that. And there's some characters playing in this one. I'm excited to see how this plays out.
This is, I love it when the Ryder Cup's happening. I love it when the Ryder Cup is happening in the United States so that timing-wise we can watch it and enjoy it. It's not either happening in the early hours of the morning or in the middle of the night. This is going to be a lot of fun, man. I was telling Sammy before the show started today, and he kind of laughed at me. There's a chance that Ryder Cup on Sunday, if things go crazy Friday and Saturday, Ryder Cup gets main TV, NFL gets split onto two other TVs in my living room. Because I don't know, we only get this once every couple years, and if it's tense, if it's hot, which Vegas thinks it's going to be very, very close, Ryder Cup might need to go center stage for me.
I'm excited for it. I'm not going there, obviously, over the NFL.
You're
but
heading to Vegas, right? You got money going down on the Ryder Cup?
We have some parlays cooked up. I think we're putting a little Ryder Cup parlay, USC on Saturday. We got some things in the works.
I also love how the Ryder Cup is formatted. The first 2 days are just chaos because they got a bunch of 2v2s going on, a bunch of alternate shots. And then on the final day, Sunday, it's a lot of one-on-one, which country's going to win. And by the way, these guys don't get paid. They get paid something. It's a flat rate for everybody. Most of it ends up getting donated to charity, but they're out there fighting for the name on the back or the name on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back. I love it. Oh, it's awesome.
I'm super stoked. I can't wait for it. Woo! So let's head to the NBA. Less than a month away. Scottie Pippen had some interesting comments on Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic, who were ranked 1 and number 3 in the top players in the NBA on a list that just came out. He said, I don't know if they could dominate in the 80s and 90s. We used to press all over the field or the court, I think he meant to say. Could Jokic bring the ball up against pressure? I don't know. Sure, he can see the court and pass very well, but I don't know if he would be comfortable bringing the ball up from the back with that pressure. Do you have any reaction to Scotty's comments? Do you think it's fair, the criticism that guys like Luka and Nikola Jokic would not be as good in the 80s and 90s?
Look, I get what Scotty's saying, and it's a little bit of, well, back in my day, and it's the game has changed absolutely, and Luka and Jokic are both superstars at this level to date. But if you're honestly going to tell me that Luka, who, what is he? Is he 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah.
Luka, who's 6'8", who can shoot the three from anywhere on the court, who has better handles than most point guards, like Luka couldn't play in your day. He might get roughed up a little bit, sure. And he's a little soft. I think we all think that when we watch Luka play. But I think Luka's talent is just so much more superior than everybody who was playing in those days outside of like Michael. He would be fine. Jokic wouldn't have a problem at all. He's fine getting down and dirty and rough a little bit. And Jokic is a phenomenal passer. Those two would be some of the best players in basketball then also.
I hear what Scotty's trying to say. I think he worded this wrong. I understand the thinking of that. Yes, in the 80s and 90s, you could hand check. You could mug guys. I mean, the bad boy Pistons literally are open about the fact they were trying to hurt Michael Jordan when they would play. And some of that basketball is really fun to see. And in today's NBA and college basketball, there's a lot of ticky-tack fouls. James Harden really kind of made it so the step back and he falls back and gets a foul. And it's kind of pathetic to watch sometimes from James Harden's perspective. But this is way too far. Nikola Jokic, maybe would he not have the assist that he would have today because they didn't shoot the three ball as much in the 80s and 90s? He would be a phenomenal player. Luka Doncic, yes, would some of the scoring today, they wouldn't get the foul calls that they do today? I 100% agree. And I think there's something that, like Allen Iverson said, he's like, oh, this is meant with all respect. If I played today, I'd score 50 points a game because of what they had to go through with fouls and everything and the amount of checking you could do in the paint. But I think this is crazy. Guys today could have played in the 80s and 90s. They would have adapted. Luka Doncic with the ball in his hand, Nikola Jokic would be fantastic.
Now, KD, I don't know. KD would have gotten roughed up a little bit.
KD got roughed up, but his height, a lot of players weren't at that level with his handles at that. But I see what you're saying in terms of, some of the physicality. It was obviously way more physical in the 80s and 90s. It'd be interesting to see how that played out.
All right. Any minute now, you might hear that sounder for the first pair of SDFC tickets we're giving away on the show today. They play Saturday. It's the final home match of the season against San Jose. Any minute now, be listening for a sounder. You'll know it when you hear it. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. It's Fletch for Gary Cooper over at Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty. And Gary, the news has appeared to be positive about interest rates coming down, but what is really going on? Give it to us straight.
Well, as we all heard, the Federal Reserve did lower interest rates by a quarter point. However, again, as I always like to talk about, the 30-year fix is tied to the 10-year bond. So, yes, interest rates have come down a bit. About a week ago, they were right around a national average was right around 1.1, 1.2. And right now they're hovering right about 6.2, 6.3. And that's without any additional add-ons. These additional adds are hits to the interest rate based on loan to value. credit scores type of property. So if you really want live pricing and accurate, by all means, give me a call. But that's what's kind of going on with interest rates. So again, we heard that the Fed's lowered them a little quarter point, but in actuality, long-term interest rates have gone slightly up. But again, it's a roller coaster.
Give them a call today, 858-376-1299. Eliminate the smoke and the mirrors with Gary Cooper, Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty, or visit them online at mountaintrustmortgage.com. San Diego Sports 760 and iHeartRadio bring you the Global Citizen Festival 2025 from New York City at Central Park's Great Lawn. Live performances from the weekend, Shakira, Tyla, and more, all hosted by Wolverine himself, Hugh Jackman. Join the movement to end extreme poverty now, one action at a time at globalcitizenfestival.com. Check out Global Citizen Radio all day on the free iHeartRadio app or listen to Hit Nation Saturday at 7 p.m. By the way, did you see the new trailer for the Wolverine video game just got released?
I did not see that.
Ooh, it is bloody, man. They're giving us what we want.
Speaking of trailers, I can't wait to see this Leo movie. That's
Same.
Apparently getting 98% Rotten Tomatoes.
Steven Spielberg came out and said he got the tape earlier than the rest of us because he's Steven freaking Spielberg. And he said that when he got it, he watched it 3 straight times because it was that good.
You know what I love about it? And I was talking with Brent about this yesterday. I like how the trailer's vague. Sometimes trailers get...
I have no idea what the F the movie's about.
Exactly. Sometimes trailers just like you feel like you watched the movie because they just did a whole thing and it kind of, you know where it's going. I love that. Like you kind of know what it's about. Like I think his kid gets kidnapped and he's going to get it back.
It seems like it's a little bit of like Liam Neeson's Taken mixed with some other things. And Leonardo DiCaprio is also like a off the grid kind of drifter who is a revolutionary type guy. And it's going to get crazy.
I'm excited for this movie.
It's the same guy that directed There Will Be Blood.
Okay.
With Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
That guy does not make bad movies.
Yeah. So it's Leo. Leo's going to show out.
And Leo delivers usually. I mean, he's kind of an insane person. What's
wrong with Leo?
Leo's a little crazy, dude.
Why is Leo crazy?
Leo's a little crazy.
Leo's not crazy.
Have you seen like what he does to prepare for roles and stuff?
Yeah,
like, when he was doing the Revenant movie, he goes full method. And so he's been vegetarian for like his entire life. And then all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to eat a raw bison heart because my character would have done the same
thing. If I was a megastar at 14 too, listen, I would be doing method acting too if I was getting paid $20 million to do a movie.
Yeah, maybe probably same. But I'm excited to see it, man. He delivers. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, shout out to
Joey,
who just won our first pair of SDFC tickets for this weekend's match against San Jose at Snapdragon Stadium. The final time this year, SDFC is going to play in the regular season at Snapdragon Stadium. We still have 3 more of those pairs to give away during our show today. John and Jim will have 8 pairs to give away on theirs, twice per hour. We've given away 1 this hour. There's going to be another one coming soon. Whiskey Bent on YouTube saying 100% on the Leo movie. Paul Thomas Anderson is a genius. Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood, etc., etc., etc. That's the director. I might need to go this weekend.
I think so too. I'm going to Vegas tomorrow, but I kind of want to go tonight after the Thursday night game.
Is it out tonight?
I believe so. Because they always do the Thursday night releases.
I usually get to like kind of flex one movie night that my wife isn't into per year. I think I might need to
per year.
Yeah. So like Wicked will be first people in line to go see it because my wife wants to see it. But otherwise I'm just gonna have to go by myself at some point.
I can't believe you chose Wicked over Gladiator.
Dude, it's first of all, no regrets here. Watch Gladiator 2 when it came out. Wasn't that special. It was
Gladiator
good.
2 is a very good movie.
It was good.
If you thought it was going to be Gladiator 1, that's on you.
Wicked was phenomenal. And I will make that decision 10 more times out of 10 more times. So I don't care if you have to take my man card away for that, but that's fine.
Wicked's not a movie like I would watch, and I certainly would not be standing in line for. That is not an opening night. That's like I'm on a plane and it happens to be on, and my Wi-Fi on my phone doesn't work, so we'll watch it.
For Good comes out Thanksgiving night, and I think we're going Thanksgiving night.
Get out! You're not going to see Wicked on Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, you're going to watch Wicked.
Probably, yeah.
That's insane to me.
Belly full of turkey, heart full of songs, eyes full of tears.
Heart full of songs.
Can't wait for it. Well, we were going to talk some Padres here, but we kind of wasted.
We'll get to that next segment. We got distracted by Leo's new movie.
I am excited about it, man. Paul Thomas Anderson, that dude can direct the hell out of a movie. There Will Be Blood, one of my favorite movies ever. He got the best performance of Daniel Day-Lewis's career, which is filled with incredible performances. Is he about to get the best performance of Leo's career?
What is Leo's best movie?
I mean, I think his best acting was Wolf of Wall Street, personally.
Yes. He mentioned he wants to do a second one of that.
Like he became Jordan Belfort. That was insane. It was so unlike anything he had ever done, and he knocked it out of the park. The Revenant, people kind of clown him for it. I love The Revenant.
Yeah, Revenant's fantastic. I'm trying to think, what am I missing here of Leo movies?
Titanic.
Inception was one of the
but he didn't really have to carry, like he played an emotional character, but it wasn't like he really had to act.
But Inception was weird about how that was true. Like if you watched that the first time, you didn't understand what was happening. Like you had to watch that like 2-3 times to kind of understand what was going on in that movie.
That like the director was the star of Inception. That was Christopher Nolan. That was a masterpiece from him. I don't know that Leo was the star.
Okay, that's a bold take. 619's asking if we're watching Peacemaker. That's a fantastic show.
I really like it. Is there a new episode came out last night?
I believe Thursday night.
It'll be tonight.
So that was our movie segment of the week.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, San Diego.
Coming up at 1:45, I wrote a speech that I would like Sammy or somebody to deliver to Keegan Bradley, who's the captain of Team USA.
619 SoCal Jayhawks says P.T. Anderson, far and away my favorite director. Fantastic, dude. Fantastic direction.
He's awesome. All right, let's Peacemaker, who 619 says he might be my favorite superhero. I do love John Cena as Peacemaker.
He's fantastic. He's like it's like Deadpool, but they just changed it.
I usually don't really like John Cena that much as an actor, but he's
I think John Cena's fantastic.
All right, that's enough.
That was movie review. That was our IMDb 12-15 segment.
Let's talk some Padres coming up next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Discover. The Padres are off today. They will be hosting the Arizona Diamondbacks tomorrow at 6:40. Zach Gallen will be going for the Diamondbacks, while Yu Darvish should be going for the Padres. Dodgers will lock up the division if they win here at 12:40 today. Their magic number is 1 after beating the Diamondbacks in 11 innings last night. Thursday night football, big matchup. Seattle favorite on the road in Arizona, taking on the Cardinals. They're currently 1.5 point favorite. That game will be going at 5:15. Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face the facts. You're stuck in the past based on the February 2024 Nielsen report. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim will take over then. Here's the problem we're running into right now. We have so much sports stuff to get to between now and tomorrow at 2:00. But Sammy and I could literally do a 5-hour show just talking movies, and our text line seems to be into that.
100%.
We have to stay away from that trap. So texters, if you want to get the movie stuff in, load it all up. We'll squeeze some in right before long shots. We'll do long shots, and then in hour 2, we actually have 2 guests back to back.
Maybe
we got
you go first.
A-list guest, by the way, Adrian Garcia Marquez, who is literally one of the most accomplished play-by-play voices in the world, is jumping on at 1:15 to preview SDFC's match against San Jose this weekend. And then Coach Kentera, who's one of the best radio hosts in Southern California history, is going to be jumping on with us at 1:30. So hour 2 is going to be busy. Hour 1, we have a little bit of time right before long shots at 12:45. So get any of those texts in and we'll burn them all right
Maybe
there.
70470, start your mess with team. Tell us what the best Quentin Tarantino movie. Fletch and I were having a little debate at the break.
Sammy's never seen Django Unchained.
That's a bad. I will take flag for that.
A dude who like claims to love movies. He's never seen one of Quentin Tarantino's. Whatever. We'll move on from that. 12:45. We'll get to some of them right now. Like literally, one of the Padres' best players just got hurt yesterday, heading into the postseason. I don't know how much time and energy I want to put into that because it sucks. It's a bummer. Ramon Laureano has been an absolute key piece to the Padres. The reason that they are where they are right now, heading into the postseason. Ramon Laureano's been a huge part of that. He's going to miss the wild card round for sure. That changes a lot for me heading into the series against the Cubs, where at best, I'd give it 50-50 odds before Ramon Laureano. Now, I don't know, man. That hurts the Padres in a big way if Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado continue to play the way they've played all season. Now, Fernando, before getting sick, had been on a little bit of an upswing, and then he's missed some time. Hey, what Fernando are you going to get back for the Padres? That's the biggest question right now facing the team. And with Manny Machado, he's had a bad year.
Over 4 last night.
He's had a bad year, and he's had a bad night last night. What Manny Machado are you going to get in the postseason? Is there a switch that can be flipped for the Padres, and are you relying on that? Because it kind of feels like at this point, you're relying on the offense to flip a switch, and you're relying on the starting pitching to be better than it's been. That's not a great spot to be in.
Right. Well, what we're hearing, like, and this sucks, is that this is where we're at, especially after the Ramon Laureano injury, is it's never a great sign when you go, hey, in the MLB postseason, anything can happen. That's it. It's a bummer it feels like that's where we're at.
It just means you're not in a good spot heading in. It is absolutely the truth.
It's 100% the truth.
The Padres can rip off a huge stretch of games and win a World Series. They can get hot. Hitting is contagious. We all know that. We've seen teams go from not good spots heading into the postseason to winning a World Series before.
Very true. And that's 100% true. And that's why there's still a lot of hope with this team, because we know the bullpen's money. I know Morahone and Estrada struggled yesterday, but overall, that's a very solid unit. You feel good about them. They're one of the best, if not the best, in the postseason. The starting pitching staff do not feel good on. They have shown us for months now that they are not consistent. They have some guys who can perform. Nick Pivetta is a guy that you put some trust in. Cease was good yesterday. I mean, like, Cease and Darvish are names that you think could pop in the postseason because they've been there before. But if we're being honest, it's hard to put a lot of faith in them considering their recent play. And Michael Cain's come back from injury. The bats are what's the most frustrating, because there's no reason that they should be this inconsistent and bad. Like, there's no reason. Manny Machado, it'd be one thing if he was rocketing it off the ball and it just had some bad luck. I mean, he is missing wildly right now, and that can't happen because Ramon Laureano just got hurt. Bogarts is coming back, which is a good thing for the lineup. You got O'Hearn. You got these other guys that are going to step up. But at the end of the day, O'Hearn and Bogarts and these guys are supporting cast. It's unfortunately that Bogarts with his contract is devolved to a supporting cast character. The main characters of the Padres show is Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr. Fernando's dealing with the sickness. As you mentioned, Fletch, he was getting on a little bit of a heater right before them. But if Padres got a shot going into Wrigley, Manny Machado cannot play like this. And it all comes down to the way the top three are going to go. And as of right now, it's not looking great. But yes, they could flip a switch. We've seen them do it before. But I think the underlying storyline, Fletch, I'm curious your thoughts on this and text line as well, is Manny hasn't played very well in the post. That's been the one knock on Manny Machado over the years is his postseason play. So, like, this is a big opportunity for Manny Machado because he struggled a lot this season. People, I think, are getting a little frustrated with what's his performance. He could completely flip a switch and carry this team, and we rewrite the whole narrative around Manny Machado. But right now, we don't like what we're seeing.
Look, he's had big moments in the postseason with the Padres before. I look back to the Dodger series, 2 years, the one they won.
2022 was his best series.
He had some big moments. Look, Manny's had big moments, but he's also had last year happen where he was awful against the Dodgers in the postseason. And Manny Machado in his career has had a lot of moments in the postseason where he's really struggled. Again, you can hope all you want that the switch is going to get flipped. And I certainly am in that category right now. I would love for the Padres to make this thing as big a stretch as possible in the postseason and go win a World Series and bring that first title back to San Diego. It's getting tougher to see right now. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but it's going to take some huge performances from key guys. And it's going to take a starting pitching staff who's really sort of struggled their way through the season to this point to outperform what they've done so far. The good news is it's all guys you have paid. It's all guys who have big names.
They are big names. Yes.
They're big names and we expect more out of them. The bad news is they haven't done it this year, but that doesn't mean they won't do it this year. And guess what? If Manny Machado has an excellent postseason, this entire season's forgotten.
100%.
Same with Dylan Cease. Same with Yu Darvish.
I think you just hit it on the head. That's why it's frustrating. Like some people I've heard go, well, the Padres have a good record and they're going to the postseason. Why are people hard on them? I think people are hard on them because we know the potential we've seen the names on this team. Your Dylan Ceases, your Manny Machados, your Yu Darvish, your Fernando Tatis that have come up big in big moments. So when they're the reason, like those four are a major part of the reason why you're not winning, it's even more frustrating. It's one thing when before the trade deadline, the back half of the lineup 6 through 9 was terrible. And you looked at it, you're like, who are some of these guys? It's hard to really, at the end of the day, get mad at Bryce Johnson despite having a nice year because Bryce Johnson gets paid to be Bryce Johnson. That's not a shot to him.
Yeah, Gavin Sheets has been bonus all season long.
Yeah.
87 and 72 is a good record. You feel
a great
really good about that. They're 15 games over 500 at this point. If they sweep the Diamondbacks, that's a 90-win season. You sign up for that 100 times out of 100 in the preseason of this year. But the fact of the matter is, it could have been better.
And the Dodgers gave you every opportunity to pass them because they have not been consistent. They have been consistently inconsistent. That's been the Dodgers' big thing. They almost blew a lead in the bullpen last night. They came through at the end of the day, but that's why I think it's frustrating. It's not the Dodgers with a 110-win season that's blowing everyone out, and you're just competing for second place. The Padres had a legit shot. I guess they technically still do if the Dodgers lose out and the Padres win out. But as of how it's looking right now, it doesn't look like they're going to win the division. Some text coming in, 858. If you think the bats are bad now, just wait till they face Boyd and Imanaga on the road. 619 says, even before Ramon Laureano, does anyone feel confident about the offense? I don't. I'll be surprised if we get past the wild card.
That's the beauty of the postseason. It can happen, man. Even with this offense, all it takes is just getting hot at the right time. Look, there's been plenty of teams. 4-4. Losing Laureano in essentially pointless game hurts a ton. Never would I want to wish it on anyone, but could it have been Sheets or a stunt double O'Hearn instead? Those two are kind of redundant. O'Hearn's been pretty nice the last couple of weeks. Look, you want to be completely healthy. The Jason Adam injury was the first omen, right? That things weren't necessarily going to go good. This Ramon Laureano injury, a fractured finger, by the way, a week before the playoff start.
Well, and to 484's point, it wasn't a meaningless game because Tuesday the Cubs and the Dodgers lost.
But if you won, it was meaningful.
If you had won, it's meaningful. But that's how I'm curious how they go the rest of the week. It's almost there's a weird argument. There's a weird argument, despite you'd rather win the division and you'd rather be hosting the Cubs.
Sit everyone.
Just let the Cubs be higher than you and try to get these guys healthy. Because honestly, the worst thing that could happen is the Cubs keep losing and the Padres kind of stay in it, but then they end up still having to go to Wrigley, and yet you burned all your bullpen arms who have been taxed mightily throughout the entire year.
Hell, they sat a bunch of guys on 2 nights ago now, and it went pretty well. They won 7-0.
Right. So maybe let some of these guys on the bench get in.
Yeah, maybe that's the case.
I think that's
Fernando needs to ramp up again. He needs to play.
He has to ramp up, and I think the underlying thing that I'm curious how it's going to be in the playoffs. The biggest part about losing Ramon Laureano is obviously his bat, but the bench. Yeah. Because now the bench is pretty thin. Because O'Hearn's coming up to start. Thank God you have Ryan O'Hearn. You don't have to question anymore of does he play? Does Sheets play? They're all playing. So that kind of conversation goes out the window.
Now, like Iglesias is your big pinch hitter,
right? Listen. I don't know if Jose Iglesias come up in the ninth.
All of a sudden, he's having a power surge. Couple home runs in the last 3 games.
I hope they're right.
OMG, he was the guy last postseason for the Mets. We'll see. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Quick break here. Long shots on the other side. Another brutal bad beat yesterday.
Terrible beat.
Crochet goes 8 innings.
Terrible 8 innings,
and he pitched really, really well. And only had 6 strikeouts. That killed us yesterday. It's San Diego Sports 760. Keep listening for the sounder. If you want to go to SDFC this weekend at Snapdragon Stadium, we're giving away 2 per hour. We've only given away 1 this hour. Am I right about that, Sammy?
1. Joey's going to the game.
We still got 1 pair of tickets in this hour, and we have not played the second sounder yet. Could be happening within the next couple minutes. Keep listening. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Starting Monday, San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances for you to win $1,000 every single weekday with the Bonus Bucks giveaway. That's every hour from 6 a.m. through 5 p.m. beginning Monday, September 29th. Listen for the keyword, enter it at sportssd.com. Again, that starts Monday at 6 a.m. $1,000 in your pocket. Go fund yourself, San Diego.
Look at that.
All right, we got long shots coming up in just a second, but let's read some of these texts. Sammy threw it out there. What's the best Quentin Tarantino movie? We got Pulp Fiction, obviously, from an 858 number. No doubt, Pulp Fiction. And then another 858 number says, my favorite Tarantino movie is Reservoir Dogs, which is also my favorite Tarantino movie. Now, I really like them all. Quentin Tarantino is one of my favorite directors. But the scene where Michael Madsen cuts the dude's ear off in the interrogation.
Sorry if you're eating lunch.
While Stuck in the Middle with You is playing is one of my favorite movie scenes ever. And it was totally improv. So goes the story. Tarantino just told him, he's like, hey, dude, I don't really have anything planned for this. You're just going to end up cutting his ear off. Do what you feel through the rest of it. There was no music playing. And Michael Madsen just started dancing. And then they put the song to it after the fact. Cool little note of movie trivia.
Yeah, I like
Steve Buscemi's so good in that movie.
I like
too.
Reservoir Dogs. My problem with Reservoir Dogs is it's not as rewatchable as Pulp Fiction. Like once you know what happens, Reservoir Dogs to me is a little slow, whereas Pulp Fiction is one of the first movies ever told out of order. You know, you don't see you're getting the end early, and then I think that's such a fantastic in that cast. I mean, in the final scene of Pulp Fiction, and what can beat that?
And also, like Django Unchained is up there in another amazing Leonardo DiCaprio performance in Django Unchained. He's only in the movie for like 15, 20 minutes, and he absolutely steals the movie. Samuel L. Jackson also is so unbelievably good in that movie. Inglourious Bastards, obviously,
fantastic.
Way up there for me. Even the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I thought was pretty damn perfect.
I think that guy. Like, it's not better than Pulp Fiction or Inglourious Bastards or Reservoir Dogs, but that got unfairly killed. I think because it was like...
It does a better job of putting you in a time period than just about any movie I've ever seen.
Yes. And that movie's only problem was it was super long. Remember that year? It was like all the movies coming out were like 3 hours and everyone was
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it too, but I understand people like it's tough to do a 3-hour movie if it's not like exhilarating the entire time through.
Yeah, but if you're a good director, you can figure out how to do it and make it work. I'm okay with long movies.
I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just saying, but it's hard. If you're going to do a 3-hour movie, I feel like it's counterintuitive. Some people are like, oh, I'm going to do a 3-hour movie because I don't want to cut any scenes. But then some of them, it's like, if it has to be entertaining the entire time, because if it's just building to the ending, it's a little long.
619, has Sammy watched Gen V season 2 yet? His favorite superhero, The Deep, shows up.
I have not. I heard that's good.
First season was really good. I haven't seen any of season 2. I think it just started.
This is a long time listener right here doing deep references.
But yeah, the Deep is a superhero in The Boys. Gen V is a spinoff off of The Boys. They're all on Amazon Prime. The Boys is incredible, and Sammy's favorite superhero is The Deep. You love him.
Did we establish that was my favorite superhero?
You love him. We all know it. And you have so much in common with him too, which is why I think you love him so much.
What do I have in common with the
let's
Deep?
get to long shots here.
Before we get fired.
Rips off a daily fantasy sports lineup every single day for us. We like to use Prize Picks. You could use the same app, and if you do, download it. Use promo code Fletch. You get $50 bonus after you play your first $5 entry. This could be your first $5 entry. It's almost like we set it up like that. Pretty smart, huh? Sammy, smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Pay that man his money.
With long shots.
Is there any Ryder Cup action in long shots? It's okay if there's not.
Not today.
Okay.
If you want to add a pick, that's fine.
I'll take a look-see.
Oh, I guess because it's tomorrow morning by the time we got it. If you want to add a pick, add a Ryder Cup pick.
All right, I'll take a look.
All right, I got right now I have a 3-game same game parlay for Thursday Night Football. I think we're gonna go. I do have a baseball pick, but we might just roll NFL. All right, let's start with so Cardinals hosting the Seattle Seahawks tonight. I think it's gonna be a really good game. Vegas is telling you as well. Seattle's only a 1.5 point favorite in Arizona. We're gonna go Sam Darnold more than 225.5 passing yards. I'm tell you why. Against Pittsburgh, he had a kind of inflated number. 295, and that Pittsburgh defense got it together a little bit last week against the Patriots. But through the first 2 weeks, the Jets ate him up. Then you had the Seahawks ate him up, and especially at home, everyone was like, what's going on with this defense? But it was a good showing from Darnold. The Niners really biled him up. First time in the system, 150 yards. That's a division rival. They know how to play Sam Darnold well. And then the Saints, he only had 218, but that was really because they were had such a big lead that they were just running the ball most of the second half. Was Zach Charbonnet questionable for this game? I'm going Sam Darnold over more than 225.5 passing yards. I won't be surprised if the Cardinals get a little bit of a lead early in this one. I think they're going to be playing from behind. I think it's going to be a fun, action-packed game. I think Darnold's numbers a little too low for me because of the San Francisco and New Orleans performance. More than 225.5 passing yards for Sam Darnold. All right, we'll go Kyler Murray. Now, Kyler Murray in 2 games last year against the Seattle Seahawks had 25 rushing yards total. 5 rushes for 25 yards. So what does that mean? We're going over on rush yards. More than 29.5 for Kyler Murray. James Conner out for the season. Unfortunately, tore his ACL last week against the Niners. Kyler Murray's going to have to get out of the pocket a little bit tonight, make things happen, especially with Marvin Harrison Jr. What's going on there? He was like almost crying post game, talking about how he doesn't have it anymore. I mean, like there's a lot going into this offense. I think Kyler is best when he's got to get out of the pocket. The Niners did a really good job of keeping him in the pocket. I don't know if Seattle's really talented on the outside. I know Mike McDonald's a great defensive coordinator, but I do think he's going to get out of the pocket a little bit and get more than 29.5 receiving yard or rushing yards. And then I'm actually going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's going to get more than 4 receptions. We're not going over on receiving yards because I want to stay away from that. The number's a little bit inflated. I do think they got to get Marvin Harrison introduced into this offense. He was the top pick a year ago. There was a lot of criticism coming Marvin Harrison's way because of some of the receivers that got taken after him. Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, who have been really good despite Brian Thomas Jr. struggling a little bit this year. Marvin Harrison, more than 4 receptions. I think we're going to see a lot of screen game tonight, a lot to Trey Benson, lots of Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they got to get him back in the offense because he looks pretty rattled post game. So I think Marvin Harrison Jr., more than 4 receptions for the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray, more than 29.5 rushing yards. And then we're going to go Sam Darnold, more than 225.5 passing yards.
I don't know if your app has this, but I have a $15 protected play in my promos. So you can just
then use it. Then it's protected. It's like it's not even gambling. It's protected.
Yeah, you're getting that money back either way. All right. Very good, Sammy. You want to rip through those real quick? I do not have a Ryder Cup pick, by the way. The lineups for tomorrow aren't announced until 1:00. So there are options in there, but I don't know who they're playing against.
Yeah, we got. Maybe we'll hit something later.
Yeah,
we got Sam Darnold, more than 225.5 passing yards. I think that number's a little bit low. Marvin Harrison gets it going. 4 receptions. We're going more than. Kyler Murray, more than 29.5 rushing yards for Kyler Murray.
All right, hour 1 in the books. Sammy, has the SDFC Sounder played yet in hour 1 or the second one?
It hasn't, but if you keep listening, it might be coming up pretty soon.
So does that mean it has to play over the next 4 minutes?
It's almost like you should get your phones ready and call when you hear it.
That's pretty convenient for people who are maybe just starting to listen. If you don't know, we're doing 2 pairs of SDFC tickets every hour. We've given away 1 this hour. There's 4 minutes left in this hour. I would assume that means between now and 1:00, another pair of tickets will be given away.
And what time is it? It's 12:56.
Yeah. So keep listening through this commercial break. You will hear a sounder. Call as soon as you hear the sounder. Talk to Sammy. You're going to the game this weekend. SDFC versus San Jose at Snapdragon Stadium. All right, busy hour 2. Adrian, Garcia, Marquez, and Coach Kentera both jumping on the show. You're listening to San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by Marquez. The Padres will be back playing tomorrow against the Diamondbacks, who are currently in action against the Dodgers. Dodgers looking to lock up the NL West. They currently have a 2-0 lead. Yu Darvish will be on the mound tomorrow night against the Diamondbacks. And then Thursday Night Football, Seahawks, Cardinals. Seahawks a 1.5-point favorite in the desert. The total is set at 43.5, and that game will go in at 5:15. Parking shouldn't slow you down. Marquez gives every driver a shortcut. Book ahead, save up to 50%, and skip the hassle of circling the block. Park smarter, park faster. Marquez. Download the Marquez app today and save every time you park.
It's hour 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John and Jim will take over then. Congratulations to Douglas, man. Dougie. And if he gets eaten by crystal meth tweakers,
well, then we're blank out of luck.
Nicely done. That was a Hangover reference for those of you that don't know, but Doug is going to see SDFC this Saturday night against San Jose. The final home match of the regular season for SDFC. So that was 2 in hour 1. Who were the 2, Sammy? It was Doug and
Douglas, and I got to pull it back up.
I can't remember.
Put me on the spot right here.
I know, I'm sorry, but I thought you would have it. So Doug and somebody else are going to the game.
Douglas and Joey are going to the game.
Joey, that's right. This hour, it's wide open. So if you would like to win, just keep listening for that sounder. You'll know it when you hear it. You got to be caller number 11 because that is Chucky Lozano's number. You could go see SDFC as well. John and Jim will have 2 tickets every hour. Also, Coach John Kentera is going to be jumping on at 1:30 today. Adrian Garcia Marquez at 1:15 today, meaning we have 0 time to waste here in hour number 2. So, Sammy, we're going to get to the big 3 right away. I appreciate that in hour number 1, you left my 49ers off of it because all the news is negative news about the San Francisco 49ers. But
should we hit it right here?
No, let's just see where we're going in hour number 2. Don't change anything you were going to do already. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
All right, Sammy, where are we heading?
We're going to go to the NFL. We're not going to go to the 49ers yet.
Thank you.
Mike Tomlin, interesting quote, taking some shots at a former Indianapolis quarterback, Anthony Richardson, said he told the team, the Steelers, to keep Anthony Richardson upright. Don't put Joe Flacco in the game. So basically he's saying Anthony Richardson is that bad of a player that he didn't want to get after him so bad that they had to knock him out of the game. Can you believe Mike Tomlin said that?
Last year when the Colts were playing against the Steelers?
Yes.
That's hilarious, man. So, Sammy, this was before you were working here, but a couple of years ago, San Diego State football, like 3 straight games, knocked the starting quarterback of the other team out of the game. And the backups came in. I remember watching, yeah. And freaking cooked the Aztecs 3 straight games. It was like backup central. This has to be something that maybe happens more often than we think. But if you're going, like, say you're the Chargers this weekend going against Jackson Dart, if you're Jim Harbaugh, would you not rather play against a rookie just getting his feet wet than, say, Jameis Winston, who's a gunslinger, can absolutely win you a game just out of nowhere? That's funny, man. Mike Tomlin. How did this come out? Who's reporting this?
No, it's real. There's a real thing about it. You can look it up. He's at this press conference and he's just brutally honest. Now, not to take a shot at Mike Tomlin, it's a little ironic to me that like critics, could say you did draft Kenny Pickett. So are you really in a position to be speaking about young quarterbacks? But I mean, wow.
Okay, so this is why, because they're playing against the Vikings this weekend in Ireland. And it's because they were asking about how do you feel about Carson Wentz playing in this game? And he's talking about why he's nervous about Carson Wentz because he is a veteran quarterback who can go out and win you a game. He's saying he'd almost rather play against the young guy. Because if you're Mike Tomlin, you're the defensive brain. You can trick rookies. You might not be able to trick the veteran.
It's crazy to me how Anthony Richardson I thought was going to have a similar, and I was wrong on this, but Joe Burrow type career in the sense of this. Joe Burrow, remember his first year, you saw a lot of flashes. He got hurt. Everyone kind of forgot about it. Everyone was talking about Justin Herbert. Tua was playing well at the time, and everyone kind of forgot about Burrow. And then Burrow the next year came out and was like, he was fantastic and lit the league on fire. Same thing happened with Anthony Richardson. His first 4 games, he looks pretty good. And then he ended up getting hurt. Remember, he got knocked out of the game because he kept taking the hits by the goal line. And then ever since that joint practice they had with the Bengals, where they said he literally cannot read a defense, and there was a scout that said there are high school quarterbacks who read defenses better than Anthony Richardson, it just feels like this guy's career fell off a cliff. And it seems odd to me because he has so much talent and so much potential potential there that, like, if he was able to get traded to someone else, I can't believe that someone's not developing him left and right. I mean, that feels insane to me. All right, story number 2. Which 6 NFL teams at 0-3? I'll read off the teams. Which team needs a win most, and what team are you most disappointed in these 6 that they are 0-3? So the Dolphins are 0-3, the Jets are 0-3, the Texans are 0-3, the Titans are 0-3, the Saints are 0-3, and the Giants are 0-3. Which of those 6 is most disappointing and has a shot to turn their season around?
It's got to be the Texans, doesn't it? You feel like there's a lot of talent on that team. Maybe we were all fooled by CJ Stroud. And I'll talk about me personally. Like, I thought CJ Stroud was going to be great. I really did. And that year 1 of him was special, man. And then you look at him in year 2, and it's really all year last year was disappointing, except, but Nico Collins is really good. And he has young wide receivers around him who you think could be really good. I do feel like that's still in CJ Stroud, and we just got to see it. The other teams I feel like are kind of hopeless this year. Texans don't play in a great division. CJ Stroud, I do think, is a very, very talented quarterback who has a bright future ahead of him. He has talent on that team around him. He just hasn't been very good. So Texans would be my answer, but I don't know if I have a ton of faith there either.
Texans certainly are the shocker of all those 6. I agree with everything said on the Texans. CJ Stroud, we got to start having a conversation. Because this guy we looked at as, this is the next, like, big time quarterback. I mean, remember that season, his rookie season, he was lighting everything on fire. The offensive line was terrible, and then he was still fantastic. I'm just, I don't know, falling off a cliff. They look lost. The entire offense looks lost, and maybe we were just kind of it was a shell of the moment. It was a prisoner of the moment a couple years ago. And we got really high on them, but I picked the Jags to win that division. That whole division's pretty bad, so they have the easiest way to turn around. I'm disappointed in Miami. Miami, to me, makes no sense why they're this bad. I think you saw against the Bills on last Thursday night, they actually put up a pretty good fight. But Tua seems to have really fell off a cliff. There's been reports that Mike McDaniels lost the locker room. But you look at the team, like Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, Tua Tagovailoa. If we were playing Madden, that's not a bad team to choose.
Not at all.
Like, this was a team 2 years ago that was the number 2 seed in the AFC until they got beat by Buffalo in the final game of the season. They fell to 6th, and they had to go to Kansas City when it was like minus 13 wind chill, and they lost. And then last year, Tua gets hurt, so the season's a little bit of a wash. I thought they were going to come out this year and surprise some people. The schedule's very open. They got the Jets this week. They got the Panthers coming up, so they could stack some wins here. But you got to think that if they don't win this Monday night game against the Jets, Mike McDaniel's probably done. And
yeah. All right, let's squeeze one more in here.
All right, let's go to the Padres. So, what player is under the most pressure to step up after the Ramon Laureano injury?
See, the obvious answer is Manny Machado, but I'm actually not going to go there. Manny Machado knows how much pressure he's under for this postseason. We all know how much pressure Manny Machado is under for this postseason. I'm going to go to the pitching staff. I think when one part of your team gets a little bit weaker, another part of your team has to step up. I think the only way the Padres get through the Cubs in the wild card round is if you see 2 excellent starting performances from Nick Pivetta first and then Michael King second. Like, the hopes really have come down to the fact that those 2 need to go out and absolutely shove in game 1. You feel good about the bullpen, but the most pressure on this team is absolutely going to be on those 2 starters, because it's not like the Cubs are going to give you a ton of opportunities to score a bunch of runs. They really aren't. They have 2 excellent starters themselves going. The Padres are going to need 2 baller effing performances from those 2 guys in the first round of the playoffs.
I'm with that. I'm going to go with the pitching staff as well, but I'm going to go somewhere else. Dylan Cease or Yu Darvish, either one of them. Whoever's that game 3, getting the game 3 ball, I think it's very fair.
Don't you think it might be both of them?
Well, I think if it gets to a game 3, there's nothing that either of them have done all season to prove that they should be able to go 6 innings.
Don't you think it might be like Darvish for 2, Cease for 2, bullpen?
I really think there's a situation where I've been saying this. Jeremiah Estrada, considering his struggles, I think should open the game. Give him a shot right out of the gate. Dylan Cease and Yu Darvish have been fantastic the first time through the order. The problem is the second and third time. So I can see what they're doing with what you're recommending. They go, if it's a game 3, you go Cease, and then you go Darvish. You don't even give him a chance to go through the second order again. I think it would be interesting to get some length so the bullpen wouldn't have to just go the entire game. If you started with the starter at opener, Estrada, someone like that, and then you let Cease go after you get through the big three of their lineup, and then try to see if he can go 4 or 5 innings and give the bullpen some love. But Nick Pavetta's got to go away in the first game because they cannot sell the bullpen in the first game, and if they don't win that game, they sell the bullpen. That's deep trouble for them.
I think you would like to see Pivetta go 6 or 7 innings right off the jump and pitch like we've seen Nick Pivetta pitch a lot this year, and you're going to be relying a lot on him. I think you got to win game 1 to give yourself a chance in the series, and that's going to come down to Nick Pivetta being great. All right, let's take a quick break. Adrian Garcia Marquez, the play-by-play voice of SDFC, is going to be jumping on the show coming up next. Talk about Saturday's match against San Jose. Talk about the season for SDFC and Fan Appreciation Night coming up this weekend. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Catch the Sean Lewis Coaches Show tonight, 6 o'clock right here on San Diego Sports 760. John Schaefer, Rich Orenberger sitting down with the head coach of the Aztecs to talk about the big win versus Cal and preview Saturday's game at Northern Illinois. The Sean Lewis Coaches Show tonight, 6 o'clock right here on your home for San Diego State football, San Diego Sports 760. By the way, this weekend's game at Northern Illinois, that is an early start, 12:30 Pacific time. That game kicks off. Pregame coverage with myself and Jared Tolver will get going at 10:30. Coming up in just a couple of seconds here, we got Adrian, Garcia, Marquez, the play-by-play voice of SDFC, going to be jumping on the show. We've been giving out tickets all show long so far. We gave out 2 in the first hour, 1 so far in the second hour, which means you got about 45 minutes to go. There will be 1 more pair of tickets for SDFC's game on Saturday coming up this hour. And right now, to celebrate the season that SDFC has had, Adrian Garcia Marquez, the play-by-play voice. Adrian, it's been too long, man. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long, how the hell are you?
Ben, Sammy, I'm doing great. Glad to be on. Thank you for the invite as always. And as we talked about right at the beginning of the season, buckle up. It's going to be a fun ride, and that's exactly what it's been.
Yeah, they've over-delivered, man. We were actually talking with your compatriot, Darren Smith, yesterday, talking about how much of a ride this has been, man, and where the expectations have gone. And he said they've absolutely over-delivered based on what we expected coming into this season. What's it been like for you, Adrian? We know how emotionally tied to this team you are. We know how much fun you've been having doing these games. But what has it been like for you watching the success that they've had this year, albeit unexpected?
It's been dreamlike, you know. And I know it sounds like I'm drinking the company Kool-Aid, but I'm not. It has been exactly that, as you know, just somebody who's been in the broadcasting game for a while, and to be able to just be part of something special from inception, you know, that alone is something that is special to my heart. But then you see how the team plays. You see who runs the operation with Tom Penn and Sir Mohamed Mansour up top, and you know the Sequan, you know, everybody out there, and obviously Tyler and Mikey, and then you know Seb Morua, and then you kind of just talk about the whole entire ecosystem of San Diego FC, and it doesn't surprise you once you get to see behind the curtain. You see who you're dealing with and how they think, how they operate. It's no surprise, guys, that this has been a successful year one, and this team's about milestones, and they've reached pretty much all milestones that Mikey wants to see. The little mileposts, they handle it week by week, you know, match by match, and it's working out, looking great. And we have an MVP candidate, and others that I know Messi did his thing again yesterday, but it's still, for my money, you take Andres Dreyer out of this equation. I don't know if San Diego FC is the same. We can talk about Chucky Lozano. His goal contribution is now 19 with 9 goals, 10 assists. So you talk about those 2 DP guys, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the operation. And here we are, everybody else kind of, you know, just part of the whole system, all for one and one for all. And that style of football, the right to dream style of football, has worked out great. And MLS is watching.
How have you seen this team, like losing a player like Milan Olaski halfway through the season could have kind of broke a team, but this team has only seemed to like rebound every time they've had a setback. How have you seen this team grow throughout the year?
You know, it's they're relentless, and it's the growth mindset. You said it, I think, really well right now. It's about the word growth. I think that this team understood that Milan contributed while he was here, but it's bigger than Milan Ilaski. It's about the system. It's about the academy. It's about Right to Dream. It's about the connections with FC Northland and everything in Denmark, Egypt, and Ghana, all the way here to the finest city. So there's a structure. There's a mentality already set. So it's kind of like a group of players that, you know, you put in anybody, and they understand what it is, what it takes to wear that jersey and what's expected of them. And if they're going to hit that pitch, they're going to be out on the field. It's because they can get it done. And that's what we've seen. Now, are there guys that maybe want to contribute a little bit more? Of course. And are there guys that have surprises contributing more than they thought? That too. And that's just part of what it is, the growth mindset that exists here. But this team is always going to be relentless, no matter what the conditions are.
Adrian Garcia Marquez, who is an award-winning play-by-play man, maybe one of the most accomplished play-by-play men in history, the play-by-play voice of SDFC, who plays right here in San Diego. This coming Saturday is Fan Appreciation Night out at Snapdragon Stadium. First 30,000 fans are getting some really cool branded Sequan Casino SDFC hats. at Snapdragon Stadium. We got another pair of tickets we're going to be giving away pretty soon here, Adrian. But coming up this Saturday night, what are you expecting on the pitch between SDFC and San Jose? Where does SDFC maybe have the advantage?
A lot of advantages. I think the main thing with SDFC is to not underestimate the opponent, if you will. It's still a side managed by Bruce Arena. It's still a team that has a talent like Espinosa, amongst other players. Things haven't gone right for the Earthquakes. You know, they're in 21st position, 35 points, in contrast to the 17 wins, 6 draws. And, with SDFC, the 56 goals, only giving up 38. So you're looking at a tale of two cities, if you will, with San Diego FC just playing lights out football while San Jose still looking for their identity. But it's still a dangerous game. It's still going to have to happen on Saturday night. And I think it's a great night to be out there in the finest city, to be part of it and just enjoy. And I always get flashbacks, when the Earthquakes come to town, it reminds me of back in the day, guys, when my dad took me to my first ever San Diego Sockers game against the Golden Bay Earthquakes. The San Jose always about the Earthquakes. And I'll never forget that. So it's kind of like a full circle moment, but now getting to broadcast, be behind that mic, last regular season match of the inaugural season for SDFC. I can't ask for anything more special. It's going to be special with all of you guys out there, and let's go get those 3 points and then start thinking about winning the Supporter Shield and working our way towards a possible MLS Cup.
That's so awesome, man. So looking in the Western Conference, SDFC trying to run down that number 1 seed. Who do you see as the biggest threat to them in the West when the dust settles? It's going to be them and who else?
It's Seattle's always going to be dangerous. Anytime a team like that gets into the dance, keep an eye out because they know how to navigate, playoff waters, and they're some of the best in their Schmetzer. I think Vancouver has really shown us, consistency throughout the season. They've had some excuses, maybe drop off a little bit. Minnesota might be that dark horse team just because of St. Clair under the 3 pipes, man. That keeper has been absolutely brilliant, and Minnesota just quietly, it's that machine that just gets things done. It's kind of annoying sometimes what you see. Maybe they don't have that championship level of, like, let's say the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's annoying that they're going to drive down the field and get themselves a touchdown, a couple of flags, and get that touchdown. It just seems like Minnesota has something extra to them that we haven't really put our finger on it yet. So it's going to be a dogfight, and don't sleep on LAFC. They've gone through their ups and their downs and their switches and their changes, but it feels like they're collecting their weapons at the right time. So it's going to be a fun ride all the way through. I just think that for our side, if somebody just steps up, I don't know who that's going to be. There are some candidates, but somebody needs to just step up at the point of attack, help Chucky, help Anders. And if we have just that guy, that middle, that striker, that Diaz, that Nueve, whatever, just somebody there that get that ball moving also and drawing some attention away from Adrian and away from Anders, SDFC is still the team to beat for me, guys.
As we sit just a couple weeks out here from the postseason and the MLS getting underway in the MLS Cup, like you're talking about, Adrian, it's pretty cool to see San Diego FC sitting on top with just a few regular season matches left to go. The final one at Snapdragon Stadium for the regular season coming up this Saturday. Adrian's going to be on the call of that game. Adrian, something I'm curious about you, not necessarily the team. So much of your career you've done in Spanish, in Espanol, speaking Spanish through a broadcast, and now doing these games in English. How tricky is that for you to bounce back and forth?
You know what? It's not, and I appreciate the question. I've been asked that before, and to be honest with you, for those of us, and I think many of your listeners can relate, we think bilingually, we're binational, bicultural. So our minds, even when it's quiet, when you're talking to yourself, sometimes your mind talks to you in English, sometimes it talks to you in Spanish. So it's a natural flow. Sometimes there is a cable crossing in the broadcast, if you will. Like sometimes you'll have a word that it's just second nature, the way that you express something in Spanish, and you're doing it a little bit different in English. So there might be a little bit cross-pollination with some of the words, but honestly, it's something that I've always done my whole entire life, and I enjoy it. And honestly, thank you, San Diego FC, for giving me this opportunity. I've been looking for a shot like this for a long, long time. And CBS, the Golazo Network, have given me plenty of opportunities to call Nations League, do things like that for them, as well as host some of their shows. So it's always been a dream of mine to be able to be Adrian, do both sides of the border, if you will, be somebody that broadcasts in English and can also turn it around and flip that switch and broadcast it in Spanish and then go back and forth. So it's an advantage. And I think, and I like to tell everybody out there, all the kids out there, stay bilingual, become more bilingual, work on being bilingual, because it is something that will help you and it will crack open doors. It's up to you to stay there. That's the trick. You know, doors are open. It's the staying power. And luckily for me, I've been able to do this from my back in the days, getting up into that right field upper deck section of the Murph and calling my little games on a tape recorder to eventually become a broadcaster and be here. Now, guys, the same grounds, same building, if you will. So it's the same vibe and soul for me to be able to go full circle and broadcast San Diego FC now in English, and growing up in my finest city, in San Diego. It just means a lot to me, and it's a privilege that I don't take lightly.
Adrian, I'm curious, for like Fletch and I are both, really got into MLS this year, but before wasn't, didn't know a ton about it. But the Supporters Shield is, awarded the best record in the MLS. For those who like maybe watch the NFL or the NBA, where having the best record doesn't mean as much as it does in a sport like the MLS, what does that mean to win the Supporters Shield?
The Supporters Shield, it's all, I'm going to go back to the great poet Kobe Bean Bryant. If you can get hardware, get your hardware. In other words, there's a title to be had in there with the Supporters Shield. I think it's great, especially for MLS. I love that they do that, because it also kind of ups the ante for the fan bases, right? The supporters groups, and being there and being that 12th man. So therefore the name, the Supporters Shield, is given to those teams that felt the support, felt the vibe all season long, at home, on the road. And I really think Frontera SD have checked that box. And all of you guys, I know all of us that have been covering the team, they've had the support, and that has shown on the field. The players talk about it all the time. This week we had David Vasquez on the midweek show, and he was talking about how special that is to him as a young player to feel the vibe and feel that energy, because it brings something else out of you as a player. So the Supporter Shield represents that, like a long season, ups and downs, Leagues Cup thrown into the middle, maybe a USF Open Cup thrown into it. So there's a lot of adversity. A lot of things are being asked of these players and their fans. So I think it's a good way to commemorate a good, strong performance during regular season by giving the deserving team a Supporter Shield. And then you could chase down that MLS Cup. But the more hardware, look, we got a Baja Cup already in-house. Let's go get that Supporter Shield. And then throwing an MLS Cup, that's a hell of a start for year one, guys. Let's go get it.
Let's go get it, indeed. Adrian Garcia Marquez, the play-by-play voice of SDFC, joining us today. Thank you for your time, man. Always appreciate it. Good luck this weekend. And like you said, go get that hardware if there's hardware to be had. Adrian Garcia Marquez, a legend.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And again, we'll see you all out there at the Murph Dragon. And again, back to that Supporter Shield. Let's get those wins. The team that shows up wins the most games, get the most points, getting it at home. At the end of the day, that's what's going to speak a lot of the finest city, a dormant giant, if you will. That's what we all talk about in soccer across from coast to coast. San Diego woke up. We know it's always been there. We saw it with the Loyal. We've seen it with the Wave. But now it's really full blast with SDFC, guys, and it's just been a fun ride. Let's keep it moving.
Man, so much fun.
You.
Adrian Garcia Marquez, and from one legend to another, Coach Kentera jumping on the show, coming up next at San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport's sponsored by Sid's Carpet Barn. The Dodgers currently up on the Arizona Diamondbacks 4-0 right now. If they win the game, they will win the NL West. The Padres will be back tomorrow night after having an off day today against the Diamondbacks. Zach Allen will be going for the D-backs, while Yu Darvish should be going for the Pods. And Thursday Night Football, Seattle travel into the desert, take on the Cardinals in Arizona. Seahawks are currently a 1.5-point favorite. That game gets going at 5:15. With Kohl's Fine Flooring closing, Sid's Carpet Barn is San Diego's undisputed flooring leader, carrying a huge selection of high-end flooring and durable, economical flooring too. At all the lowest prices in town, visit sidscarpetbarn.com.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. We still have one more pair of STFC tickets to give out this hour, so keep listening for the sounder. You'll know it when you hear it. From one legend to another, Adrian, Garcia, Marquez on last, Coach Kentera on now. Coach, how the hell are you on a Thursday?
Fletch, Sammy, I'm doing great. Beautiful day out, a little off day for the Padres, and they'll ratchet it up and try to finish on a strong note this weekend at home against a team playing some really good baseball right now, the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, Coach, I saw you active on social media last night. I'll just read it back to you. Zero sense of urgency by the Padres dropping the game to Milwaukee 3-1. They could have kept the pressure on both the Dodgers and the Cubs. We were a little disappointed in yesterday's effort from the Padres too. Now, what'd you see on the field, and how frustrating is that they, once again, it felt like the door was open for the Padres to maybe jump a spot in postseason rankings, but they couldn't get it done?
Well, I mean, you're playing an early game. You win a game, and you can sit back and kind of see how the teams you're chasing are doing. And, I just thought yesterday, it was great. They beat Milwaukee the first couple of games. Milwaukee came in here a day after clinching the NL Central. Freddie Peralta was sticking it to him pretty good on the first game Monday night, and because they got the playoffs around the corner, they didn't push him. He only went 5 innings, gave up 1 run, and then, you end up winning that ball game, basically because their bullpen wasn't very good that night, not to take anything away from the Padres coming back and winning. And then the guy they threw on Tuesday, Bruce Zimmerman, he hadn't pitched in the big leagues since 2023, and they DFA'd him. It was his first opportunity to pitch with Milwaukee, and they DFA'd him right after the game after he gave up 6 runs, 5 of them earned in those first 2 innings, but, settled in and ended up throwing 6 innings overall. But he's no longer a Milwaukee Brewer. Yesterday, Padres got beat by a bullpen game by Milwaukee. So it wasn't like, I heard people say, oh, man, they beat the Milwaukee Brewers, the best record team in baseball. Well, you know what? Milwaukee probably had a little bit of a letdown, I think. But nonetheless, I thought the Padres could have swept that series. It would have been really nice if we're sitting around last night or today and kind of watching some of these other games to see how they were shaking out. Now, the only thing I'm wondering at the end of the day, are the Dodgers going to be 3 games up with 3 to play, or are they going to be 2 up with 3 to play because they're playing an afternoon game at Arizona? So I was a little disappointed. It just didn't seem like the boys had a lot of bounce in their step. And, of course, Machado continues to have a bad streak. Yesterday, he got the old golden sombrero striking out 4 times, and quite frankly, not even close swinging the bat.
So Ramon Laureano obviously injured, which sucks. He's out for the first round of the postseason, the wild card. Who's got to step up? Is that Manny? Is that what you were leading to? That Manny's the number 1 guy that has to step up in his absence?
Yeah, well, Manny needs to step up because he hadn't done a whole lot. I know he's got 5 homers this month and 14 RBIs, but he's hitting well under 200. He struck out quite a bit. That's coming off a month in August where he hit 222 and with 1 homer and like 5 RBIs. So, Machado's got a fine stroke. And again, he has not been a great playoff player. I mean, in his career, he's played in 48 playoff games, guys, and he's hit 215. That's not a glowing endorsement to think he's going to get hot in this wild card round, probably at the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. Fernando's been a very good postseason player. Hopefully he's feeling better. Hopefully he'll play in at least 2 out of the 3 games this weekend to kind of get his energy up. But losing Laureano hurts. Luckily, you've got Sheets that can play left field. The problem you have there is, I don't know exactly how Craig Counsell is going to come up with his pitching rotation. It could be that young right-hander in the first game, or they could go with Imanaga or Boyd. in the first game. But, I think if it goes 3, you're going to see 2 left-handers in Imanaga and Boyd throw. You're going to get 1 right-hander, which would benefit Sheets, and then you're going to get 2 really good left-handers, and you're not going to really have the ability to, run somebody out there other than Bryce Johnson. And quite frankly, Bryce Johnson's done a very, very nice job, but I don't necessarily think you're going to start him in left field in a crucial playoff game.
Coach Kentera, time to live up to the name of coach. How would you handle the pitching staff in the postseason? What would you do 1, 2, 3?
Well, I think you got to go with Pivetta. Number one, he's your hottest pitcher. I know maybe he hasn't been as sharp as lately, but over the long haul, he's had a career year. He's earned that spot in game 1, as far as I'm concerned. I'm very anxious to see how Michael King throws tomorrow night. Everything seems to be a mystery right now with what the Padres are going to do after that first game. The way I would line it up in a perfect world, okay, and we know it's not perfect and things change day to day. I would go, if King throws well tomorrow night, King would throw game 2 after Pivetta. And believe it or not, I know a lot of people will probably think I've lost my mind on this one. I got to go with Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is throwing the ball really, really well right now. You could cop out and go with Darvish, but I want to go with the guy with the better stuff personally. I want to go with Dylan Cease in a winner-take-all ball game.
Coach, you mentioned that Milwaukee wasn't playing, all their best guys necessarily in the last 3 days. How would you see the path working if they're going to Chicago and then Milwaukee? How would you see that playing out? Like, where do you think the Padres have advantages?
Well, I think when the Padres are really into wanting to play and Machado's playing well and Tatis is motivated, it's a good ball club. And it really comes down this time of year to having good quality starting pitching. You got a good bullpen, even though I think the bullpen has been, given ground a little bit. Morejone's not had been overpowering recently. Estrada's really, I think, if you go back and look since the All-Star break, his ERA is good, but he's given up a lot of home runs. Not having Jason Adam in there, I think, has hurt this bullpen a little bit. Getting David Morgan back yesterday, and I would imagine we're going to see him a little bit over the weekend to just try to knock off a little bit of that rust after being on the IL for 15 days. The back end, Mason Miller's been fantastic. Suarez is Suarez. I feel really good, but you got to get those starters through at least 4, if not 5, and then you can turn it over to that bullpen and take your chances. Milwaukee's a good ball club, and I think Pat Murphy is a guy that was learning in San Diego and really struggled when he was the interim manager, in my estimation, with the Padres. And I'm not talking about record. I know the record wasn't good overall for him in San Diego. They were 12, 13, 14 games under 500 after he took over a ball club that was only 1 game under 500. But there were just other things off the field. And I was down there morning, noon, and night in those days. And to see what he has been able to accomplish after working under Craig Counsell there in Milwaukee as a bench coach for many years, and to see what he's done now as the head man, pretty amazing. And I certainly think there are a lot of guys that are in the running for the National League Manager of the Year. And Pat Murphy won it last year. In my evaluation, I think it's going to be hard not to give it to him again this year. I think he's done a marvelous job with that ball club. That Milwaukee Brewer team, when they're got all their guys in there and everything's going well, they may not wow you with big names, but they got a lot of guys that can flat out play the game of baseball and play it at a very high end level, and they're very fundamentally sound, and they play kind of an old school game of baseball. They'll bunt, they'll hit and run, they'll steal. They don't make a lot of mistakes defensively. They got a pretty good up the middle. Bryce Terang's as good a second baseman defensively as there probably is in baseball. And, they're a fun team to watch because they're scrappy and they're not going to be intimidated.
Coach Kentera joining us here on a Thursday like he does every Thursday. Coach, a rare non-Padres baseball question for me, but you look over at the American League, and I think the National League MVP is already over. Ohtani won it again. He's like minus 50,000 or something like that in Vegas. But the American League, Cal Raleigh has made this thing interesting. 60 home runs on the year for a catching position. He only hits like 248, somewhere around there. But Aaron Judge with another 50 home run year. What do you think baseball writers, who can never be trusted in my opinion, what do you think baseball writers are going to do with this AL MVP race? Because it's fascinating, man. Are they just going to give it to Judge again? or does Cal Raleigh have a shot here?
Well, I think Cal Raleigh should win it personally.
So do I.
I mean, well, let's take a look at a few things. First of all, he's probably going to win the Gold Glove behind the plate. Okay, I'm not sure Aaron Judge is going to win the Gold Glove in the outfield. Okay, and I know defense. When everybody looks at the MVP, that's the last thing they look at. But this guy is squatting down, and I don't know how many of those 60 homers came while he was catching. I know most of them did. But let's take a look at some of the records he's done this year. Number one, he set the all-time record for switch hitters, okay, which was held by a guy by the name of Mickey Mantle. He also set the record for the most home runs by a catcher in baseball history by Sal Perez. He also broke a record of the Seattle Mariners by a guy that's one of the great players in the history of the game, Ken Griffey Jr., who held the record at 56. Then you throw in being a catcher day in and day out. His team won their first division title in 24 years. I think those are pretty special numbers. He's driven in more runs than Judge this year. And I know he doesn't have the batting average, but man, that guy's done a lot of damage. And I'll tell you what, I'd like to see some of those sports writers squat as many times as Cal Raleigh has over the last 7 months.
And then just be able to write an article. They probably couldn't, Coach. Hey, appreciate your time as always. Sorry we're a little bit shorter today. Adrian Garcia Marquez, that voice, man, it's just intoxicating. He went too long on us. I apologize about that,
That's
Coach.
All right. It's all good. Hey, let's bring home a win for the Aztecs. What an impressive performance last Saturday night. I'm glad I was there. Hopefully a lot of people join us at the next Aztec home game. Let's get a win at Northern Illinois.
Yeah, that was fun, man. That game against Cal was incredible. Next one's a Friday night, so that'll be fun too. Coach, thank you for your time, man. Always appreciate it.
All right, Fletch, Sammy, have a good day.
Coach Kentera, legend, man, legend. All right, quick break here. We'll finish this thing up coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. You are still listening for that sounder to win some SDFC tickets. Number 2 has not happened yet, and hour number 2 could be moments away. Download the Prize Picks app today. You're going to want to use promo code Fletch when you do, FLETCH. That's going to get you a $50 bonus after you play your first $5 lineup. How about this? Prize Picks is begging you to win one here. Jalen Hurts discounted to a half yard for this week's game against Tampa Bay. You pair that with one more correct pick, and you are going to win big on Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use promo code Fletch when you do to get that $50 bonus. Football is here. Every game matters, and you don't want to miss a moment this season with Prize Picks. Your favorite players are ready for the year. They're in the year, man, and baseball postseason coming up as well. All you got to do is go more than or less than on player stat projections, and you can win big here in California, where it's tough to get action in California. Believe me, I know. Withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure on Prize Picks. You can go with Venmo, Apple Pay, lots more options. Direct to bank account is also available. I've done this before where I've won on a Sunday night. By Monday morning, that money is in my bank account. You can do the same thing. If you want a little lineup for your first $5 lineup, how about this one? This is what Sammy and I are rolling with today. We got Sam Darnold tonight, more than 225.5 passing yards. Marvin Harrison Jr., more than 4 receptions. And Kyler Murray, the quarterback for the Cardinals, more than 29.5 rushing yards. You can tail that, and then we'll all have a party tomorrow when that's a winner. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. Get that $50 bonus after you play your first $5 lineup, because on Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We are almost out of here. John and Jim are coming up next. Sammy, who just won those tickets?
Josh is going to the game.
Josh, what up, Josh? Thank you for listening, man. Appreciate you and everybody who won tickets today to go see SDFC. All right, we got Ryder Cup action beginning tomorrow. Teams just got announced. Boys, I'm going to need you all to gather around here. We're going to get a little speech in before the tournament begins. Get on in here, Scotty, Bryson, JJ, Xander, our San Diego boys. Colin Morikawa, not sure you deserve to be here, but get on in. We need you this weekend. Listen up, gents. Great moments are born from great opportunity. And this weekend, gentlemen, you've got the chance of a lifetime. This is the Ryder Cup. This is not Thursday at your local Muni. This isn't your buddy's beer league scramble. No. This is USA versus Europe. And guess what? They don't want you to win. They don't want you to fly home with our trophy. They want to fly home with your trophy. You need to stop them. But here's the thing. It's ours. It belongs here. It belongs in America, right next to our barbecue, our cold beer, our football, our bald eagles. Do you know the English people like to drink their beer room temp? Losers. The Europeans, sure, they're good. They've got accents that make them sound so smarter than us. Some of them even wear skinny jeans better than we do. But they're not unbeatable. Not this weekend. This weekend, we fight for every kid who's ever snuck onto a driving range after dark, for every fan who's ever shouted mashed potatoes after a tee shot, and every American who thinks that today is the day they make their first hole-in-one after 9 Coors Lights and 4 failed attempts at getting the Cart Girls number. Today is that day. So grip it.
4 failed attempts.
Drain the putts that make the world shake. Play with pride, play with fire, and play like your country is watching. Because we are. Tomorrow, you don't just play golf. Tomorrow, you make history, and maybe a few divots, too. Tomorrow, you beat those stupid Europeans. Let's go, Team USA.
Look at that. Look at that pregame speech.
Whew,
Coach Fletcher.
I feel like
feeling so patriotic right now.
All right, John and Jim are next. Beat that, John and Jim. Good luck.